Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse, and tonight Rand Kelly is back, and we are doing a career retrospective on the band Argent. It's like a zombies month. Man, we already did a zombie show. Anyway, Rand's here, we're talking Argent, we want to hear from you, let's do it.
Grant is changing the world one track at a time on Grant's Rock Warehouse.
Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse, and Rand Kelly's back again. If you know anything, we just did a show on Iron Butterfly, and it's actually going to air tonight, but we're recording this on Tuesday, but it doesn't matter. What am I talking about? But Rand Kelly's back. We're going to talk about Argent. If anybody knows Argent, hold your head up, everybody. There it is, the first album. So Argent were kind of, how should we say it? Resurrected, emerged out of the ashes of the zombies, led by keyboardist and founder Rod Argent, who I think also was the leader of the Zombies. The Zombies, phenomenal. Never had much success in the UK, but the Zombies had a lot more success in the United States. Now, I don't know how Argent did over here, or if anything, I think the Zombies were more popular in the States than Argent ever were, but what do I know? I don't know for sure. Maybe someone could chime in the comments. How popular was Argent in the UK, back in the early 70s? Anyway, I'm on a tangent already. So anyway.
British audience out there.
Well, because everybody knows Hold Their Head Up, but
yeah.
Really, how much more do people really know other than that? Well, we're here tonight to talk about it. So, Rand, how are you? What is going on?
I'm good. Just the usual thing.
So, first of all, before we get started, how did you come into knowing the band Argent?
Hearing Hold Your Head Up on the radio in Las Vegas.
Like everybody else.
During 1972. Yeah, I mean, it just instantly grabbed me. I just love that pulsing bass that Jim Rodford has. Oh, I just found out today, after 55 years of listening to this band, that Jim Rodford, the bass player, is Rod Argent's cousin. I did not know this.
All I know is he was in the Kinks.
Right. Him and Rob Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he was his cousin. I had no idea.
I didn't either. It really surprised me. He didn't look anything like him.
So were you a fan of the Zombies by any means?
Yeah, I liked them when I was a kid, because I was into the Beatles and all the British bands, the British Invasion that was going on. You heard all that stuff on AM radio. Mm-hmm. And I heard She's Not There, and I thought, that's really interesting. Very few songs at that time had a keyboard solo. True. It was done on a Hohner pianette, and it just sounds great. And I thought, man, I like this stuff. This is good. And then they had another one called Tell Her No, which I don't think was as good as She's Not There, but it was a pretty good song. Colin Blunstone is a great singer. I love 100%. His voice.
Yeah. But just to go backwards to Argent for a bit, but we brought up Hold Your Head Up. That was a big hit. I do have it in my notes. It reached number 5 in the UK and in the USA. So It was a hit. They had another song called Tragedy that I think got up to number 34.
I love Tragedy. Of course,
if everybody knows Kiss, the song God Gave Rock and Roll to You, that's Argent.
Did you ever see the interview with Gene Simmons where he has the audacity to say the following? When we wrote God Gave Rock and Roll to You, we were putting that out for every human being or something like that. And I'm going, you didn't write that. That's Russ Ballard.
Russ Ballard's song. Yeah, maybe he got
confused. Russ Ballard's song. He should have sued Gene Simmons for that comment.
There were two out. I don't think Argent had any success in the UK either, because I'm looking right here. Argent charted in the UK, the All Together Now album. Peaked at 13 in 1972, and In Deep reached 49 in 73. All the other albums failed to chart.
you probably didn't get a chance to watch that documentary with all those critics talking about the band. They said that that band was having a tug of war from day one. Ballard wanted to go more commercial, and Rod Argent wanted to go more progressive and more experimental. And man, you can hear it when each one sings their songs. I personally think Rod Argent's a great singer, and I love his voice. He's got kind of a Brian Wilson falsetto, Carl Wilson kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the song that Hold Your Head Up, the way they got that on the radio was the record company removed the organ solo and spliced it in with just the vocals and the chorus. And then when you hear like the go, it just goes from that dun da da dun da da, and then it goes back into like the verse, and you're going, wait, where's the organ solo? Well, apparently this really pissed off Rod Argent. He was mad as hell.
Well, a lot of these bands
thought, this is great. We've been on tour and we come back and we got a hit single in England. He was all for it.
Well, so think about it. A lot of these bands, the Doors were pissed off when they edited Light My Fire.
Well, yeah, but I heard that on AM radio and they used to play the whole thing.
Oh, maybe.
In California. I mean, in Eureka and
California,
Sacramento.
Of course. It was probably
pirate
radio in California.
They were our boys. Light My Fire actually the first single was Break On Through.
So this thing between the prog thing and the pop thing and the hits. So that's why Russ Ballard left in 1974, because he just couldn't.
Yeah. He wrote a song for Rainbow that made him rich. Since I've Been Loving You, Since You've Been Gone.
Since You've Been Gone, yeah.
Great tune.
Well, the guy can write a good pop song.
He's good. Well, another thing too, I know we're going to get to all these things later, but it's on this album, the very first album, Liars, the second tune. I didn't hear it by Argent. I heard it by Three Dog Night.
Oh yeah, it's like on their
radio.
debut
that was
album
a big
or something.
Hit. It was a big hit from the album Naturally.
And that's it.
And I remember being a pitch guy that I was learning how to define pitches in my head when I was listening to the radio. I noticed there was an off note when they went to the chord change from G minor to A minor. They put in a B flat on the A minor, and I thought, well, that's strange. Nobody does that. And then it does it here too. So they got it right from Argent doing that. But then again, I saw today that Russ Ballard did a remake of all his tunes like recently, and it's called believe it or not, Gems from the Warehouse or something like that. But anyways, I listened to it, and he did away with that note. He didn't put it in, which I thought was weird. But anyways, I love the Three Dog Night version. I thought it was their song. I didn't know.
I like the Three Dog Night version. We did that Three Dog Night show in the Warehouse. Later, 6 months ago.
Yeah, it's a great tune. Years later, I see this album in the cutout bins, and I grab it and I look at it in the back, and it goes Liar, and I go, "Is that the same song?" And so when I got it home and played it, yeah, it was, and I was like, "Whoa, that's cool."
So how do you look at this record? This came out 1970.
Well, I was never a huge Zombies fan. I mean, I recently had gotten, not recently, back then, later on, I got turned on to Odyssey and Oracle, which is like their psychedelic prog album. And I went, and that was about 10 years ago. They came here in Reading, and they performed the whole album start to finish. And it was amazing. I didn't realize they were that progressive, But Time of the Season is on there, and I heard that to death on the radio in '69, So that was like the Zombies comeback.
Yeah, that was like 2 years after it came out.
They hadn't done anything since like the last Zombies album in the '60s. They didn't really do anything up until Odyssey and Oracle. And it was like that was the time, and they just snuck it in, just before the big prog explosion. And I think it is a really good prog album, but we're not talking about the Zombies right now.
Well, we can talk about whatever Rand, we can talk about whatever we want.
We're tangenting. We're doing a rangent.
Yeah.
But anyways, when they decided the zombies decided to call it quits after the Odyssey and Oracle, that's when they put this out. Of course, I wasn't involved at that yet. I would be 3 albums behind. But it's amazing. I mean, it opens with Like Honey. Now, I would have opened it with Liar, but they didn't see it, the potential of it. I think Three Dog Night put these guys on the map through the song Liar.
Maybe, but still, they only
It
had
came
2
out 1
records
year.
that even sold.
Three Dog Night came out in 1971. So it was a
No,
year after this.
69.
Naturally?
What you mean? You mean that record?
Yeah,
Okay.
The Liar. Yeah. So I heard it in the Air Force, and I'm going, this is really cool. And then I get to me, Altogether Now was their first album because I didn't know about these first 2 yet. You know what I mean? People need to realize something that aren't my age. Back then, it was hard to find things out. There's no internet. There's no rock press that you can have delivered to your door. I used to have to go to record stores and borrow the Billboard magazines while I was standing around near the counter and just soak up all this information
Yeah,
that I
but
could
didn't
because I knew.
Rolling
Rolling
Stone?
Stone was, yeah, they were, but see, the thing is, they hated prog. They didn't like anything that was artistic. So,
Well, but the
you
first
could,
Argent album's not prog.
no, of course not. But I don't even know if they ever mentioned the first Argent album. I didn't. I used to
Yeah,
buy
maybe,
Hit
I don't know.
Parader and Cream and Circus, and I don't ever remember seeing anything about Argent.
What I'm saying, I don't think that they had much of a push,
Yeah, no, they didn't.
which I'm
But anyways,
surprised since the Zombies were fairly successful here. They had hits where the UK didn't care.
this album is interesting because, like Honey, again, that was written by Rod Argent and Chris White.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's really not a member of Argent. I mean, he was in the
Yeah, he
Zombies, but
was.
he didn't want to be on the stage with Argent, Chris White.
Yeah, he
So he
just wanted to
stayed in the
write.
background and he helped write songs. Yeah, and so he helped write. He helped Rod write Like Honey. Like Honey is okay. It's forgettable. I can't even remember anything about it right now. Liar is the song on here. Be Free. Don't remember it. Schoolgirl. That's a ballad song. But I like Dance in the Smoke. I think that's a cool tune. The Feeling Inside, Lonely Hard Road, didn't mean much to me. Free Fall, Stepping Stone's a pretty cool song. Bring You Joy, I didn't really like that very much. But anyways, I think it was a start. This is a start,
Right.
It's saying, look, we've got an album out. These are the songs we have. Let's go from here. Let's go out on tour. They're touring Europe, England, whatever. And it's just a start, but I don't think I'm going to
It's
keep
not,
this
it's
out
much more
because
closer to the 60s. It's much more closer to the Zombies than it is.
I was going to say that. It sounds more like a Zombies album than it does an Argent album.
Well, that's fine
Exactly.
with me, though.
Exactly.
I'm good with that.
There's a transition there. There's a transition.
So,
What
I
do you
mean,
think of it?
I think it's much more like a Zombies record, and I like the Zombies.
Yeah.
There's no prog here. I don't have a problem with it. I don't think any of the Argent albums, there are any 5-star records here. I think I would probably rate this
No,
a 3 out of 5.
I think there's a lot of conflict that keeps the albums from. That's what I learned today watching these guys talk about the band. They said they had so much potential, but there was always somebody in the band that would destroy the opportunity when it came around. Here's your golden moment. And they just go, "Ugh." Depending on who it is. I mean, you could either say it was Ballard or Argent or whatever. I'm always team Rod Argent because I dig his keyboard playing. But anyways,
100%.
yeah.
It's a good record. If you like the Zombies, this doesn't stray that far from it. And I'm good with that. I'm good with it. Yeah, it's not a 5-star record. It's a 3-star record as far as I'm concerned. Ring of Hands, 1971. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm going to tell you what my rating is on the first one.
What?
I'm going to tell you what my rating is on the first one.
Oh, I thought you already. Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to give Argent a 6 because
All right.
Liar is good. Stepping Stone is good. I've forgotten the rest of. Oh, I like Dance in the Smoke.
So
That's
you're
right.
giving it
So
a.
three songs. So listen, 3 songs out of 10. I think that's a 6.
I gave it a 3, which is a 6.
1 to 10. You give it
Out
a
of 1 to
3.
10, it's a 6.
Okay, so you're saying it's a 6 with me.
Yeah, if I'm
Okay.
doing it out of 10.
Okay. So Ring of Hands, right? Let's show that cover.
1971.
Let's show that cover. Really clever
This
cover. I like that cover. The water's falling down everybody's hands like a fountain.
I think that this is a better record, though no one knows
Oh
anything
yeah.
about this record. If you didn't know this band, you'd look at this album cover and go, "Who in the hell is it?" Because it didn't sell, it didn't chart, but it's a better record. Um, I'm gonna pronounce it. Lothlorien.
Lothlorien.
Yeah, that's
Lothlorien.
got a
I
freaking
think that's
great
from Lord of the
keyboard
Rings.
solo.
Great song. That's the
Great
best song on the
song.
album.
Correct.
I
Correct.
think that's the best song on the album. That is to me, uh, if you wanted to term it for 1971, that is their prog song on this album. I think it's great. Celebration's okay. It's a good opening number. Sweet Mary, the record company tried to make that a single, but it was a disaster
It didn't do anything.
because what happened was that there was a rumor that got out that Sweet Mary was about marijuana, and everybody banned the song.
Yeah,
It
this was still
wasn't
in that
allowed to be.
era where they
It
would
was,
ban
yeah,
stuff.
71. Yeah, it wasn't allowed to be played in England, and it wasn't allowed to be played in the United States. So that kind of
I mean,
screwed them
I
up.
like this song. I think this is like a transitional album from,
And
what
Ballard
you
wrote
had.
"Cast Your Spell."
Yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me.
No,
Russ
that's all right.
Ballard wrote "Cast Your Spell, Uranus," and nobody can remember anything about that song. It's absolutely forgettable.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I just thought Lothlorien was phenomenal. Plus, it's like 8 minutes long. It's really good. It's an epic, I think.
If you're into prog, I think it's well worth hearing, if you don't
Pleasure
know.
has some really great organ on it, Hammond organ. Rod Argent is one of the best Hammond organ players ever. I just love the way he plays.
Mhm.
But some of these other
He's
tunes, I
very
don't remember.
distinct because you think about a lot of that zombie stuff. What really stuck out on the zombies was his intricate keyboard work.
Yeah, and
Phenomenal.
he didn't even
And
have
it's
a
the
Hammond
same here. It's the
on
same
that.
on this stuff.
Excuse me, on those first two zombie singles. He didn't even have organ on that. It was just piano, tone or
But
piano.
still, his keyboard style, very
He's good.
distinct. Yeah.
He's well trained. The guy can play. There's no doubt about it. But Sleep Won't Help Me. I didn't really like that one much. Chained and Rejoice. I don't know. Rejoice almost sounded like Let's Go to Church. It did.
Well, hey, you have to be honest. It's all good.
Yeah. And Where Are We Going Wrong? It just seemed like they were stealing the title from Cream's We're Going Wrong. But anyways, I mean, Ring of Hands is it's a step up from the
But
debut.
not by great leaps and bounds.
I'm going to give it a 7.
I would give it a 6.5. It's not leaps and bounds. Like I said, nothing in this catalog because exactly what you said. There's a lot of
one great song's not going to be a high rated album.
well, you have to admit, Hold Your Head Up is a great song. But yeah. So we're 1972 all together now. This
is where
probably well, most people probably think that this is the commercial peak, which it is. Is this the best album? Possibly, but there's still a lot of problems in the Argent, camp. But it is a commercial, critical highlight, I would say.
I just
Hold Your Head
realized
Up is
something.
great. Pure, and what about the Pure Love Suite? What do you think of
I
that?
love that.
You love
I
it,
love
see?
that. But
It's
I'll tell you what, I'm not a big fan of Keep On Rolling. I don't really like that kind of music, especially when a band can do so much better.
Mhm.
Tragedy is great. I Am the Dance of Ages is cool. That's one of those beats that goes dun 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 dun, and it's just a cool tune. Be My Lover, Be My Friend. It's okay. He's a Dynamo. I don't really like it all. But what I noticed about this CD that I have, it's like 7 bonus tracks on here. There's 14 songs.
Really? I just have the regular.
Yeah,
Like
it's
came in like the original album classics where there's 5 songs. I don't
right.
think there's any bonus tracks. Who put that
Well,
out?
this is
What
the
version is
first.
that?
This who does it? Coke,
Mm-hmm.
KOCH Records.
Mm-hmm.
But this came out in 1987. Wait,
Probably the UK import, isn't it?
oh, this came out in 1997. For a while it was really hard to find Argent CDs
Oh,
unless it was just the best of. The best
100%.
ofs were everywhere, but these ones for the regular album were really hard to find. Now I bought the LP, of course. The original LP has a fold, booklet, small little booklet. But this has songs like Kingdom, Closer to Heaven, another version of Rejoice, God Gave Rock and Roll to You, Christmas for the Free. Christmas for the Free is really depressing song.
Well, we don't want anything depressing.
I didn't like that at all. But anyways, they threw just a whole bunch of stuff on here. Coke did, and I always liked that emblem. Thought that looked cool.
Yeah, I've never seen that CD. Well, I not that version.
This was the back cover of the album,
Yeah.
the LP. That's what it looked like. But
Yeah, the
anyways, yeah,
original the original album series CDs have all the original artwork on them.
I really like this record, man. It's good. It's got, like I said, the opening, Pure Love sounds like Stravinsky. It just there's parts that sound like Petrushka. I mean, it's just I know that he's very classically trained and he knows these tunes and stuff. So I think he was sneaking stuff out. But again, Pure Love, it turns into one of those rock and roll songs. I like it. I like the most of it the most in the beginning, and then like later on, I'm not really great about it. But I think again, this is a step up. And
I
hold
think
your
it's a
head up.
step up too. How do you look
Hold Your
at this
Head Up
from
is killer.
it's killer. It's a great single. How do you look at this as far as prog goes? I mean, do you think they're right on the
Well,
right track?
there's tinges of it. I think Tragedy sounds kind of like proggy, and that's Ballard. He wrote that. I Am the Dance of Ages. I think that is really prog, and it's not very long. It's only 3 minutes and 44 seconds long. But Rod Argent and Chris White wrote that, so that could have been a Zombies tune from before.
Sure.
Same thing with Be My Lover, Be My Friend.
Mm-hmm.
I always get that mixed up with Alice Cooper's Be My Lover.
Well, at least I think on this record, I think this is some of Rod Argent's greatest organ work on this record. I don't think
God,
that
yeah.
100%. I think they're heading in the right direction. I don't think that this record is perfect by any means. There's flaws like we've mentioned before. Hold Your Head Up and Pure Love, I think, are the highlights for me.
Yeah.
I would probably give this, we're getting better, ladies and gentlemen, but it's not perfect. I would give this a 7 out of 10.
I'm going to give this an 8, Grant.
I'm always much more critical. I like this record. I love the production on this record. The way
if this would have been an EP, I would have put Hold Your Head Up, Tragedy,
Okay.
I Am the Dance of Ages, and Pure Love, and left the other stuff off.
So there
That's
you go.
Why I'm
It's
giving it an 8.
okay. But you giving those an 8 with all those other tracks being left off, those tracks are something else then.
Well, there could be what I mean.
Yeah. All right. Know. So all together now we're getting better as a band, I think. Even though
1 year later
we have a lot of issues with this band, but yeah, we do. In Deep 1973.
There's a catalog here. We can talk about it. But anyways, in 73, they put out In Deep with Rod Argent in the bottom of a swimming pool.
Bad album cover. Horrible. Come on,
dumb.
Gentlemen.
It's got the pun down to a science.
Isn't that a Hypnosis cover? I think that's a Hypnosis cover.
This opens up with a really classical Baroque type thing. You don't even know what you're getting if you're not paying attention. It's just do 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 do. That's Rodford's playing his butt off in the beginning of this, and then it just
Of
goes
course.
slowing down, and then it comes God gave rock and roll to you, and you basically got the whiter shade of pale chord progression going on here a lot. But God gave rock and roll to you. It is a great song. It's an anthem, and Kiss. They just went nuts with it. They had a good time.
Did they butcher it, or you think it was okay?
No, I think it's fine.
Okay.
But unless you say like when we wrote it, I mean, I'd
I'd rather
Gene
listen to this
Simmons said
version.
that just to see if anybody would catch him.
I think this version's better.
I think he was playing around. Oh God, yeah, for
Probably.
sure. Okay, so God gave rock and roll to you. I don't know where they got the idea for the intro and the outro, but that is really complex classical music. It's very hard to play. And then you get It's Only Money Part 1 and It's Only Money Part 2. Now this is good stuff. This is good rock. I'm pretty sure that's Russ Ballard composition. Although it does tell you. Yeah, it is definitely Ballard. And that's a good suite. That lasts quite a while, actually. I don't have the times, of course. Didn't list
That's
the
all
times.
right. No big deal.
But anyways, the reason they did it in two different parts is because there's two different movements to the song. First part sounds completely different from the second. And they just connected it, and called it. See, I think it's two separate songs, and then they just go, it's only money, That's all they had to do. But anyway, I think it's good. Really like it. Losing Hold, that's a Rod Argent song. I don't remember anything about Losing Hold. Rod Argent and Chris White again. The next song is by those guys called Be Glad. And that's my favorite
Be Glad.
on the album.
Be Glad and God,
Be Glad.
God Gave Rock and Roll to You are the best tracks on the record. I know. It's not yours.
Doesn't do it for me no more. Oh, there we
What
go.
happened? I don't know. I don't know. I did that.
I can do it.
I don't
just stay
see you
steady.
do it.
It works.
I don't
Used
see
to
you
work.
doing it. Maybe you're too close.
I don't know. Used to work. Anyways. Oh no, it works on my phone.
All right. Well, anyway, I think those
Be
are the
Glad's
two
great.
standout tracks.
Be Glad's long. It's a long track and it really stretches out. There's a lot going on. Very jazz rock, proggy kind of experimental stuff going on. Christmas for the Free is just bloody awful. If you think I Believe in Father Christmas is depressing by Emerson, Lake and Palmer,
I like that song. It's not
I do too.
uplifting, but
the lyrics will bring it down. But if the music is very happy sounding, well, Christmas for the Free has very sad lyrics and sad music, so there's nothing that makes it you want to hear it. Candles on the River is killer. I love that tune. That was written by Rod Argent and Chris White. I think that's another great song on there, and it lifts this album out of the swimming pool pretty good, I think.
yeah, something needs to lift it out of the swimming pool. Well, because I don't think that. But if you look at that album cover, Rand, does that tell you to go out and buy it?
Well, yeah, it was weird. But if you look on the back, somebody's diving into or falling into the pool. And then there's somebody way in the back, looks like they're back by the drain. I don't know what they're doing.
Cleaning the drain out.
Maybe the other guy is the cameraman or something. I don't know. It's an interesting photo. But this is on Rewind Records. I never heard of them, have you?
Well, that's the reissue label for that was on Epic. That's just a reissue. It's still Sony.
Sony.
But it's like the reissue, the budget line. Yeah, it's an import. Sony. It's a UK import budget line.
And the last song is Rosie, and that was written by Russ Ballard. I didn't really like Rosie.
Okay.
Didn't do much for me. They could have ended it with Candles in the River, I think. Or on the river. I thought that was a very... Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I think this record's a lot more ambitious than what we had before. They become more ambitious as they go. like I said, God Gave Rock and Roll to You and Be Glad, I think, are top-notch tracks. Is this
Yeah.
record better than what came before? I don't think it's as good a record as All Together Now. It just by a slight, because you've got Hold Your Head Up, which is phenomenal. Yeah, God Gave Rock and Roll to You is damn good, but is it a Hold Your Head Up status?
No, because to me,
It's
Hold Your
close
Head
to a
Up is
7. I'd give it a 6 point.
5.
No, rate it like a 6.75. It's almost as good
Wow.
as
Well,
All Together.
what I hear when I listen to Hold Your Head Up is you got a band that, had they been allowed to run the long song on radio,
Yeah.
really would have put their stamp on that. Hey, we're not just a normal rock band. We're, we've toured with Yes, and we've toured with Genesis, and we watched King Crimson at the Mark. You know what I mean? They were very aware of what those other bands were doing, and Russ Ballard didn't want any of it, and
Well,
you can tell because he wrote "God Gave Rock and Roll to You," but he also wrote "Be Glad." But guess what? He didn't write "Hold Your Head Up." That was written by Rod Argent and Chris White. He just sang it. So I see the splitting is already starting to happen because you've got one big single, Ballard,
mhm.
and a great song in Be Glad,
Yeah.
Argent and White. And you can just
Mhm.
start seeing it come apart at the seams very slowly. 6.5.
All right. So we're all kind of similar. Uh,
Aha.
the next record, though. Now we're talking,
Nexus.
right?
Nexus.
Now we're
This
talking,
album
Rand.
is freaking
Okay, here
killer.
we go.
Okay, so
1974.
it opens up with an instrumental called The Coming of Cahutek, which is credited to Rod Argent and Chris White. But I
Phenomenal.
found out today it actually comes from Franz Liszt. It's called Toten Tanaz or something like that. Man, I don't know why these musicians do that stuff. I mean, the Enid even covered this and said they wrote it 2 years later in
I covered it and
1976.
I said I wrote it.
I was playing it when you came on, but you couldn't hear me.
Well, I wrote it, damn it. So be careful.
Anyways, The Coming of Cahutek in 1974, there was a comet called Cahutek, and it did go by. And there's a Journey song on the first Journey album called Cahutek, which rocks big time, but we won't talk about Journey.
No,
Yeah.
well, we could.
The Coming of Cahutek is killer. I love the tune. It's 3 minutes something on the studio album, but on Argent Encore Live, it's
Mhm.
over 11 minutes long. They really stretch out on that. I'll talk
I
about that live
guess.
album when we're all done. It's great.
Okay.
Okay, so the Coming of Cahutek, Once Around the Sun, Infinite Wanderer are all the same tune. They just connected all three, so they made it longer.
Hmm.
That made you think they're shorter. Pretty clever if you think about it. The song Love, I don't remember a thing about it.
Phenomenal. No, I like it.
Do you?
I think, yeah,
I
I
liked
think it's
it.
very
Is it a slow
dynamic. It's
ballad?
what?
I
Yeah,
think
I
it's
think
a
it's
slow
good.
ballad. Yeah.
It's good.
Russ Ballard ballad. Ballad. Okay.
Russ is trying to get a hit. He's trying to keep them commercial.
Best song on the album. Next up,
What's
Music
that?
from the Spheres. Do, 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 do. This is Rod Argent at his proggiest. I
This
love Music
whole
from the
album is
Spheres.
them at their proggiest.
Oh, yeah. This album really rocks. But I love that Music from the Spheres. And that's 8 minutes and 10 seconds. So they really stretched on that. And that wasn't going to get on the radio. They really didn't have a hit single for this album to go on the radio, to tell you the
No.
truth. I mean, they might have thought the next tune, Thunder and Lightning, would do it, but I think that rocks too much.
Yeah, I don't find
Keep,
this to be a very commercial effort. Now, did they
keep
just
her
kind of
flame.
ditch that? Or all of a sudden on this record, because this is the last one with um
Russ
Russ
Ballard.
on it, do you think that it was
Yeah.
just too proggy and he went, "Oh, I'm done"?
Yeah, he's gonna leave. He's gonna split the coop because Rod's just going off on. He just wants to play mini Moog solos on everything now.
Well, who doesn't? You would play mini Moog solos on everything.
Of course,
See?
right here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this album is killer. I remember the original American cover looked different. It was just Rod Argent by himself with a green background, and he's
Yes.
wearing like yellow.
That's
And
the
you can
one
see
I've
his
got.
package. You can see his
I
package
wasn't
so
looking.
bad. It was really, you can't help it. I mean, as soon as you look at the cover, you go, oh my
Package, you
God.
got a package.
So that's why this is the British cover.
No, the
I don't
one
even
I've
think they
got's
gave
got
us,
his package on it.
well, that's what I'm talking about. I don't think they didn't even, let me see what they gave us in this little gatefold here. They actually give you the lyrics, which is nice.
Very nice.
I think it's the first time they do that, by the way.
Could be.
But anyways, yeah, I think Nexus is top notch.
What would you
Coin a
rate
phrase.
that out of
Phrase.
10?
Oh God,
I can go on
this
a
is pretty
legend.
damn good. I'm going to give this a 9.5.
I'd give it a 7.5. All these records are all kind of hovering between 6 and 7.5. There's nothing here that's absolutely a perfect record. I think this is
Oh, I
probably
didn't
their
like.
peak. This is probably their peak.
No, I don't think so.
You
I
don't
didn't like
think
"Gonna
this
Meet
isn't
My."
their peak?
No, I didn't like "Gonna Meet My Maker," but that's the last song on the CD, so you can skip it if you want. Okay, so here's what happened. I was showing those double albums from
Yeah.
BGO, right?
Yep.
With the first album and the second album.
Mhm.
So look at this. I had to get Circus, and it came with the first album again. So I got two versions of the first
I
album.
can't remember what the label is. That Wounded Bird or is
This is
that
Wounded Bird.
Wounded Bird? Yeah.
Yeah. Now I really love, and I'm not kidding, I love Circus. This
It
is where
doesn't
they go
have
full
Russ
on.
on it. Okay.
They got John Verity and John Grimaldi,
Yeah, I don't
two
think this
guitar
is.
players that are absolutely killer fusion guitar players, especially Grimaldi. He is just, he's off the reservation when it comes to solos. But I love the Circus album. And
Yeah,
I have the LP still, as a matter of fact.
I don't think it's as good as what came before.
Here's a picture from inside the album. That's one of the sleeves.
Yeah, I'm worried about that.
Yeah, that's weird looking.
Weird.
But it is Circus, But anyways, yeah, I really love Circus. High Wire, great. Clown, great. Trapeze, great. Shine on Sunshine, The Ring, The Jester. I mean, this album kills. I love this record. Big fan
You're the
of,
only one.
yeah, apparently. Big
It's all
fan of
right. I don't think
Circus.
it's as good as what came before. Do you like more of the jazzier approach that they have on this?
This is Prague.
You
This is
think it's just
Mellotron.
prog?
From the very first note on High Wire, you hear Argent's Mellotron. This is the first time you actually hear it.
Because of the Mellotron, you rated higher. But what about the
Mellotron's rock,
songs?
brother.
I know, but what about the songwriting? What's the thoughts on the production?
Great. The production sounds great on this album. I don't know who does it, but
So is this supposed to be a concept record, correct?
oh, it's produced by Rod Argent and Chris White. It is a concept album. It's the first concept album that Argent ever put out. And it was on Epic Records.
Well, yeah, they were still signed to Epic then.
But they changed record companies after this. So something must have went wrong.
Well, they probably didn't sell any records and they were either dropped or that was their what they signed for.
Yeah, the end is near. I think when Ballard left, a lot of people said, well, if he's not there anymore, what could they do? I think for proggers, this is great. I love it.
It's all
a
right.
good album.
I just don't think there's something missing when I listen to it. Maybe it's Russ.
Russ Ballard. Did you ever listen to his solo albums that he did while he was after he left?
Mm-mm. I've
I
seen
listened
them
to
before.
one. I listened to one today called Barnett Dog, and Barnett Dogs, and I had bought that myself as an LP when it first came out. I didn't like it then, and I don't like it now. But
At least she gave it another
cover's
shot.
interesting. The cover's interesting. It's got robot dogs on the cover. They've actually got that stuff.
I just think it's
Circus. High Wire is 9 minutes and 6 seconds. That's the longest studio track. Oh, no, it's not. Excuse me. Pure Love is 13 minutes.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah, I dig Circus. I've always loved it.
I mean, I think
said,
I could give it a 6, I think. But it never really grabbed me. It just didn't seem like something's missing. And I think that something's Russ Ballard.
We can't all be the same.
No, but I'm just saying.
Like
I'll have to land somewhere, Rand. So what would this one you're going to rate really high then? 9?
Yeah, I'm going to give Circus a 10.
10.
That's how much I love it. I mean, if it makes you feel that way and you're being honest, I think
I want you to be honest.
Okay.
All right. I just don't think it's as good, but hey, we all hear this. Yeah. Counterpoints. 1975.
Got so much crap.
Why? Why did
everybody?
Why did it?
Well, I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing.
Well, this is their final studio album. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah. Well, when I first heard it, on the very first beginning of On My Feet Again, I had no clue what I was getting into. Didn't sound anything like Circus. I wasn't sure what was going on. They're playing weird chords. The vocals sound like they're opposing the chords. It's kind of like what they call rock in opposition later on. But as it gets going, and then when you read the credits and you find out that their drummer got sick and they needed Phil Collins to come in and take its place. And if you listen to this album really closely, you can tell which one's Phil's on, and he is killing it. This album,
Phil at times, kills it.
Sounds like Brand X. This album is phenomenal. On the songs that Phil Collins
what would you call it, though? It's not accessible. It's much more experimental.
No, this is esoteric prog fusion city. I love it.
Right. Well, I know you love this shit already. I
went to a lot of trouble to get this. I had to buy this from Korea.
I don't know if it ever really came out on other than that.
Big Pink music. I thought it was.
See, people question that. Is that a bootleg
it's
label?
Not a boot.
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't think it is. It says 1975 Argent, 2020 Big Pink music. I'll tell you what, it's the only place you're going to get it.
What label was this on when it came out originally?
RCA.
So they got signed for one record to RCA.
Yeah. It says right here on the OB strip here, it says last album in the group's career, great mix of progressive rock and jazz with enthusiastic performances by all. One of the best albums Argent has done. First time on CD. It should have said Phil Collins kicks ass.
That? Okay, but still, why? I wonder why this never got a release on CD or any kind of digital format.
I don't know. I guess you got to have money to do that, and they probably just, Rod Argent, after he canned the band, he created a music store in London. He had Rod Argent keyboards. So, and then he also did an album we could talk about called Variations on a Theme by Andrew Lloyd Webber. It's Rod Argent, Coliseum 2, and Andrew and a bunch of other guys, fusion guys. It's pretty good. A lot of people don't like it, but I like it. It's all Paganini, so there's a lot of notes. They play it right off the chart. Gary Moore kicks ass.
Well, Gary Moore, of course, kicks ass.
He always kicks ass with this.
Have you heard this? Anyways, do you know this record?
Yeah, I have that. I have the original LP.
Yeah, you probably have an original LP signed by Gary Moore.
That drummer on that album He's on Ian Gillan's solo album called Scarabus. I think his name is Mark Nosieff.
Man, this does not have any information on it. Look at this.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Those are the ones. That's how they came out. How about me buying 8 tracks in the early '70s? No information at all. You get song titles, album title, and a cover. That was it.
Well, just because you like 8 tracks.
On My Feet Again kicks ass. Phil
Yeah.
Collins has got to be on drums on that. I can't remember, but yes, second track. Again, just absolute blistering fusion. Time, written by Jim Rodford.
Mhm.
Great song. Maybe my favorite tune on the album. It's so weird. They're in the key of E. The first note of the melody of the voice, who I think is Rod Argent singing,
Probably.
is an F. He starts in F, so it's in E Phrygian. Crazy sounding song. Love it. The drumming on this is just off the freaking chart.
Jesus.
Waiting for the yellow one. Waiting for the yellow one
Yeah.
is basically another fusion thing with Phil Collins. It's Fallen Off. That's another Phil Collins. Be Strong is really good. Rock and Roll Show is sort of forgettable. I didn't really need that. Butterfly is good. Road Back Home is sort of schmaltzy and didn't need to be there. But the high points of this album are so much. So I think I'm going to give this a 9.5.
Jesus. Really?
Oh, it's so good. And it was so hard to find. Like, you can't even, if you go on to Amazon and try to find it on Amazon Music, it's not even listed.
I don't
They
think
even
it ever
have it.
got a,
The only place you can listen to this for free is on YouTube.
and it's probably ripped from that CD.
Okay, so are you giving counterpoints?
Well, you did a good sale on it, so I'm reevaluating what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I
I'm
just,
that good, huh?
well, you're good at selling. Um,
Well, you sold me on Lone Rhino and Twang Bar King. I got
as
it
you
yesterday.
should, as you should. Um, hmm. I don't dig, to be honest, I don't dig this. I think that All Together Now is the peak. Well, no, I think Nexus is the peak, and then All Together Now, and then, well, this just didn't grab me though. It just seems so, but if you like prog,
Well, the first opening
it's
line
just
was
so
Rod Argent singing.
experimental.
Well, when I first heard uh, She Wore a Graveyard Smile by Rod Argent singing that,
Mhm.
the keyboard chord goes down a half step and the bass note stays on the same note that it started on. So it's like this. It sounded so. I was like, what is wrong with you guys? But see, when I first heard this, it was like 77. I didn't even know about it
I mean, if
until
we're
I
looking
saw
for
it.
proggy stuff, I think Nexus is the peak. And I just don't find
Well,
this
look
to
at the
be,
year. 1974 was the peak of prog everywhere. Look at Relayer, Gentle Giant, The Power and the Glory. That's probably their best. That's where I started. Emerson, Lake and Palmer had put out the Welcome Back, My Friends to the Show That Never Ends live album.
mhm.
74 was huge for prog.
I guess if I'm going to rate it, mm,
Genesis, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. I mean, come on. How
I
much
guess
prog do you
I'd
need?
go the best records Nexus, and then I think I'd go All Together Now, Circus. No, take that back. Jesus. I'd go Nexus, All Together Now, Counterpoints. I don't think I'd go Circus. In Deep, then probably Ring of Hands.
Fans.
I
And
do
then
like
the
the
self title.
debut. I should rate that higher, but that seems to be more like the Zombies. I'll just leave the debut not my. I do like it. Don't get me wrong, but I do. Okay, so Nexus is the best, and then All Together Now, and then after that. But
Yeah, I'll do that.
it's so minuscule between albums because it's hard to rank them. But I think
Yeah, yeah.
I think Nexus was the peak.
It's funny that you do say that because the live album came out right after Nexus in 1974, and it's called Encore, and it is a
Yeah, I've never heard that.
phenomenal album. This is so good. This is great. 78 minutes and 10 seconds. Listen to the tracks. The Coming of Cahotek, 10 minutes and 33 seconds. It's Only Money Part 1. It's Only Money Part 2. God Gave Rock and Roll to You. Thunder and Lightning. Music from the Spears. I Don't Believe in Miracles, which was a Russ Ballard song that he wanted on the studio album and never got on there, so he did it live.
Mhm.
I Am the Dance of the Ages, 9 minutes long. The other one's 3. Keep on Rolling. Again, I can take it or leave it. Hold Your Head Up, 11 minutes and 17 seconds. Time of the Season,
It's a jammer. I don't know
Encore,
what you could do
six
with
minutes and
that.
29 seconds. So they shoot out a zombie song right at the end of the concert. How's that? That's cool, huh?
Well,
And this is on Collectible? Oh, it's Sony. Everything's Sony. You got to
it's on
get
the
this, folks.
collectibles label, who
Yeah,
licensed it from Sony.
if you're interested in any of these albums that we've been talking about, especially Nexus, you
Uh,
got to get you got to get this. This is great. Half of Nexus is on this live. It's awesome. And so after that sales job, I've got 2 more live ones that most people probably don't know about. One's called Live at the BBC,
yeah, I don't have that.
and it's Rejoice, Where Are We Going Wrong? Cast Your Spell, Uranus, Tragedy, Keep on Rolling, Hold Your Head Up, Liar, Rejoice Again, Keep on Rolling, Tragedy Again. It's Only Money Part 1, It's Only Money Part 2, and God Gave Rock and Roll to You. And this came out on BBC Worldwide Music or something like that. I think they have their own label. Yeah, this is just from a bunch of different sessions that they did with no audience.
Mm.
But it's good. And BBC always sounds good too.
Yeah, the
There's
BBC
another
stuff
one.
I like.
There's another one called Argent in Concert, Big Whale.
Yeah, I've never heard that either.
Yeah, this is kind of hard to find, I guess. I like the CD. You can see an octopus. So it's not a whale, it's an octopus. So this is let's see, when did that does it say? These are 1972, Old Gray Whistle Test,
Oh,
74. This is sort of like a congregation of different places. This is Be My Lover, Be My Friend, Sweet Mary, Tragedy, Dance of Ages, The Faker, whatever that is, Fakir. I don't think that's on any of the albums we were talking about. Hold Your Head Up, He's a Dynamo, God Gave Rock and Roll to You, It's Only Money, Gonna Meet My Maker, and Music from the Spheres. I'm not a big fan of this one because I really only like Hold Your Head Up and Music from the Spheres on here. But the rest of it, now I'm going to go ahead and do my ranking, right?
go ahead.
Starting with date. I'm going to go backwards to what I like the
Okay.
most.
All right.
The debut
Mm-hmm.
backwards. You know, I'll tell you what, I like Ring of Hands better than In Deep. I'm going to go In Deep, and I'm going to go Ring of Hands,
Okay.
and then I'm going to All Together Now.
Mm.
uh, Nexus,
Okay.
counterpoints, and Circus.
Circus in your number one spot.
Circus is my number one. I don't know what it is. It's just as soon as that album starts and he hits that Mellotron, and I think he's running it through a phase shift or something. I've done that myself with mine. It's just a magical sound. There's something about the Mellotron that just grabs me immediately. I don't know what it is.
Oh, I know
I
all
noticed
about the
it.
Mellotron in you.
I noticed it before I knew what it was. I mean, you know that on the Beatles album with all the white on it?
The White
You
Album?
know that? Yeah. But that's not really what it's called.
Well, it's called the Beatles, but everybody calls it the White
Exactly.
Album.
If you were on a game show, I think I did see this once. If you were on a game show and they asked you to name the title of that, and you said White Album, you'd lose like all the money.
Oh,
But
well.
anyways,
But I know what it's called.
yeah, I know. But anyways, you know the beginning of the continuing story of Bungalow Bill?
100%.
It's got that guitar part that goes bling, and then it goes really fast.
Yeah.
Do you know that's played on a Mellotron? You just push the button down, the key down, and it makes that whole thing.
No.
I have it. It's on another one of my programs, but it wouldn't matter because you always say it doesn't come through anyway. But anyway, I used to think, can George Harrison play like that? No.
So that's the Mellotron.
That's the Mellotron. Yeah, it does a lot of weird things like that. People don't realize that there's more than two sounds to those things. Most people are just they think it does orchestra, they think it does choir, and they think it does that guitar part I told you about. But they don't understand that it's just loaded with different sounds. I have them all. I paid $1,500 to get the programs. It was very expensive. $500 a slide-in chip or whatever they call it.
Long money for a chip.
So Argent came and went. I think this band, they did what they did, and you either take it for what it is. I think you review what is there, not what's not there.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Well, the whole thing is with this discussion, Rand, is hopefully we've turned some people on to go check out the Argent catalog. If you know this catalog, we want to hear from you in the comments.
Right.
I want to know how full of shit Rand is. Let me know how I'm correct. I don't know. I don't know if there's really a right. Byron just said on our show, he said, where in the hell has Rand been? Because our Iron Butterfly show's on right now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to go. Rand.
We can't make comments on that, right? Because it's recorded.
You can get on. Yes, you can make comments right now because it's a premiere.
Oh.
People are making comments right now.
How long has it been on?
It started at 9.
I better get on there and say something, huh?
All right, so everybody, we're going to go on the show. I want to thank Rand Kelly for coming on Talking Argent. All we are trying to do is turn you on to stuff. Let us know what you think of this catalog. Hell, let us know what you think of the Zombies catalog. I don't care. It's a free world. It's a freedom. But let us know what you think. If you know this catalog, tell us what your ranking is. Let us know what records you like. We'll be back, Rand. What are we doing, Rand? We're doing something else. We're doing
Thursday night.
Camel.
We're doing Camel Part 2.
Camel Part 2. So there'll be more Rand Kelly for all you Rand Kelly addicts out there. So anyway, Rand, I want to thank you. We'll see everybody.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem.
Love doing these shows with you, Grant.
100%. All right, we will talk to
you. Prog listening party, buddy.
Let me get this listening party thing going. We'll get to it.
You went 3 hours, huh? Wow.
That was my maiden voyage.
Awesome.
Because I hadn't
done.
You're
talking about the new and improved.
It's the same as the other. Nothing's new.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We'll
go.
see you. See you, Rand. Take care.
Bye-bye.
See you, everybody. Please like, subscribe if you haven't, and we will see you on the next one.